All right, so we've got a Whirlpool washer here, and the issue is we're getting an error message. So let me turn it on and show you what we got. All right, we're gonna put her in drain and spin first. You hear her draining, it's trying to drain. The washer is not draining the water. You can hear some of the water coming out. You can see there's still water in the tub. Door should be locked. We're gonna press unlock and it should unlock. This is your pressure sensor, and the message we're getting indicating that, but it's a false reading. So we're gonna deal with the drain issue first. Make sure that nothing is clogged in the pump housing before we assume anything is going on down here. Now, we're gonna try and go through the front to get to the pump. And we do have a drain pan, so that's kind of good. We can drain the water in there. So let's get it unlocked again. All right, as you can see the code, F3E1. That is basically the sensor telling you that there's a problem, either with too much water or not enough. So let's dig into it and see what's going on. It's basically the sensor is doing its job. It's telling you that the water pressure or the water level. But what you want to do, you want to basically start at drain into spin. It's the base you want to start at. It's the basic function. The washer has to drain. If the washer is not draining, right now what we're doing is adding water because the pump is running. You don't want to run a drain pump too long. You can burn it up. So I'm using my magnet to activate the valve, and that is basically sending water to keep the pump going. Now, the washer should drain at a certain amount per minute or second, but it's not doing that. So we're going to manually unlock the door. As you can see, you pull up, there's a lever, and the door is unlocked. So we're going to basically take the front of the washer off, is what we're going to do. And because the washer is totally draining very slowly, it's not draining at all. So that's your first thing you want to basically attack, is verify why the washer is not draining. If it's taking too long to drain, if you start replacing parts, you're not actually going to be fixing. You're just wasting your time, wasting money. So, all right, so pretty much just follow along. If you have a drain pan under your washer, it's going to be more difficult to get to. You'll have to improvise, maybe get a couple 2x4s, cut them, and make little blocks, because you will have to access the bottom front if you have a Whirlpool washer. Other washers Well, most of them actually do have one or at least a few screws at the bottom, at the base. So you will have to get under to get it. Now that's your bellow, and as you can see, a couple maintenance things needs on this machine. You do have holes. Look at that stuff coming out. And keep your door open, and this will keep your seal and bellow nice and clean. You can use a Q-tip and get into those holes or something, just nothing sharp to damage the seal, and keep those holes where they don't back up like that. You need them to drain, and washer actually needs to get clean. But we were able to unclog the drain, and the bellow holes were also clogged up. So pretty straightforward from here on, guys. Now also, if your washer is not draining, meaning you have a bad pump, you can also access this washer from the back. If you are not in this situation where you have a drain pan, you can remove the screws in the back. Be mindful of the screws in the back. Not all of them you would take out. And once you have the cover off, you have full access to the drain pump. And it's a lot easier to go through the back than the front. And if you're getting power to the pump, you would take your meter and basically 2 wires going to the drain pump. You can remove the wire or the connector and stick your meter leads into the drain pump wires. Now you should get 120 volts going to the drain pump. If you're getting that power, if you're getting the correct voltage, then you know you need to replace the pump. If you're not getting any power at all, then you're going to be dealing with either a broken wire or a bad board. So pretty much just clear your drain catch. That's your main issue. And sometimes you're going to have a code, but the code doesn't actually mean what it's saying. It's pointing you in the direction. So keep that in mind. Don't always just take the code and start replacing parts. Start at the basic. Check your drain pump. Are you getting water? Are the screen clogged to the water inlet? Start there. All right. So just confirming right now that we do have that error message. So now we're going to actually remove the console, and pretty straightforward, basically 1/4-inch screws on the top. And this washer actually uses T20 actually. Some screws are 1/4, but the majority of the screws on this machine going to be T20. And the front comes off pretty straightforward. Be mindful of the wire connection. You have wires, 2 sets of wires going to the user, so be super careful. I like to use a zip tie and tie the user off on top of the washer, and that protects it from sliding or accidentally falling. One of the wire connectors, they're going to be very difficult to remove. It has a retainer, so be mindful of that. So you're going to remove the 2 screws securing the door lock, and of course we're already taken off the spring that holds the bellow, and now you're going to have 5/16 screws, 3 of those up top. And the bottom of the washer is going to be the tricky part, especially if you have. So this is my Viking arm, which I use to raise the front, so I'm able to access those lower screws. You'll have to improvise, maybe use 2x4s, and those screws are T20. Now, this is only for if you have a drain pan that your washer is sitting in. You will still need to use maybe 2x4s. to raise the front somewhat. Now we're down here at the pump. This is your drain catch, and once you gain access, you might need to use an adjustable tool. It does take a little torque to get to it or get it turning, and definitely get something to catch some of that water. You will definitely have quite a bit of water coming out of that thing, so look out for that. If you can get a drain pan or a bake pan or something that will catch all the water, or lots of towels, pay attention to those things, because a clogged drain or a bad drain pump is going to give you different readings. So you have to decipher. First thing to check is to make sure your washer can drain properly. If it's draining properly, then chances are it's going to be something else. All right, you'll see all the junk that comes out, and that's a lot of water as well. So definitely want to pay attention to what you put in your pockets. Very, very important. In fact, sometimes you'll get things in there that can actually damage the bellow or the seal. So be super careful. And of course, there's a lot of water coming out. Now, some models you'll have like a rubber hose going to the tub, and you might be able to use a radiator pliers to restrict the flow of water as you open up the drain catch. Now take a look at all this stuff. That's a lot of stuff. Yep, that was 6 years. I asked the customer how long they've owned the machine, and it was 6 years. So that's pretty much all that. And the poor machine, that's the junk that came out of it, was struggling. Now, after we clear that out, you want to go ahead and pour some water in, just to make sure that you're flushing everything out. So do a second rinse, which is what I just did, and that basically cleans it out. You can also use a rag or something and wipe out the inside just to make sure that it's nice and clean. You can also clean the gasket on the drain catch, just wipe it off. And that pretty much covers that portion of the repair. Just be mindful when you put it back together. And right now we're going to activate the magnet, and we're checking for leaks. You want to make sure that you don't have any leaks, that everything's tight. So when you put the machine back together, you don't want to take it back apart again to fix something that you can do right now. So we're checking. Now after this, we're going to turn the machine on, and you'll see how fast the machine drains and how quickly the water is evacuated, versus previously it was taking forever, which led up to the code that the machine was giving. The pressure sensor is actually only responding to the amount of pressure that it's receiving, so it sends a signal up based on pressure. It's basically a pressure sensor or a transducer, and it reads pressure in, and it's converted to a number, whatever that number is for the computer. Computer is satisfied. So if the number is not in range, then you will get a reading. It doesn't mean the sensor is bad. It's telling you that something is off. That's why the theory of operation is very important when you understand what your machine is doing or supposed to be doing. And then you kind of decipher and say, okay, this is not working, or this is working.
Is it working?
Mm-hmm. Something's not plugged in. Here we go.
All right. Now let's see how powerful this drain pump is.
And we're basically checking now to see how fast this thing will drain.
It'll do it while it's open.
Well, it's not correct. You should drain that water in 3 seconds, literally. And it was taking 5 minutes. Done. You want to see the water going? You can hear it. So it's beautiful. Yeah.
All right, so we're going to be wrapping up, getting all the screws back in, and we got to put the seal back on, and we're pretty much done with this. So enjoy the rest of the video. Hopefully your repair is not as hard as this one was. Whenever you're dealing with obstacles, they usually take a little bit more time, but still possible and still get the job done. Customer was happy, and I was happy as well that it was done. Thanks for watching. Which I do. I respond to everybody. I like helping people. That's why I do. That's why I do channel. So this can be your personal.
Yeah, I've had motorcycles since I was 12.
Oh,
You know, I started with it.
you like Mercedes?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think they're good cars.
that's all I
for
drive.
truck.
Except these auto shops, the books look exactly like mine.
Neat, neat.
Where I said, you look at their books, and they're falling every year for the last 2001. When 9/11 happened, that's when it started falling for my business.
Wow.
Is that? I mean, it's really hard to believe, but the following year,
Right.
I want to say, it just started stair stepping every year. One step down, one step
Yeah.
down, one step down, all the way from 2002. That building for me now.
Oh wow, that's kind of cool.
He's got a European auto repair there.
Neat.
He works on all the European stuff, but I just used to do Mercedes and BMW.
Are they a lot different than really?
I used to do. I did nothing but Mercedes. Yeah, the kids like the BMWs.
I wonder why. I mean, Mercedes is a beautiful car.
Like,
I guess maybe you can do more. I guess it's a younger crowd, and maybe you know how social media is. You know, and you got to do this all over again. Pretty good. It's not ripped. That's your main thing.
right, if they get bad, they start to leak.
Oh yeah.
So it doesn't have any tears.
No, you'd be seeing water in your thing if you had a leak.
See, it goes all the way around that lip there. Because they can. Because it was a PAC car, which is it's the same turbo as a Cummins ISX.
Really?
If I'm in a hurry, I do it in one day. What happens
The
if
energy.
you go into ketosis?
Well, ketosis is a normal thing.
Right?
But
because you gotta, because when I was doing Atkins, I had to test. I used to piss on those test strips that would turn purple or whatever.
Right.
Because I would be, you'd have to,
right.
You know.
I am always in ketosis.
Really?
Yeah.
But that's a good thing?
Yeah, absolutely. You don't want to be burning carbs. Carbs kills you.
But they said that you had to.
And he saw the Africans, and he's like, man, you know, they're so healthy, and they have good bowel movement. What was his name? And so basically,